everybody. My name is Sophia. I am a compulsive eater today in the United States of America. It's lovely to see all of you. I live in the state of Maryland. I know I'm abstinent with the Gray Sheet program of recovery because I weigh and measure 3 meals a day, commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat between those 3 meals no matter what. This is a life-saving program for me. And I have humble beginnings, in my opinion. I have been in Gray Sheet for 13 years. I began my recovery in Connecticut in a small town called Westport, and was brought to the rooms by somebody I will call one of my Gray Sheet angels. And I'll never forget that feeling. That was 13 years ago, and I have not had that contented abstinence that some people are afforded, but a beautiful soul in Gray Sheet who came into the fellowship and has never picked up or broken her abstinence said, we have different journeys. One's not better than the other. And I just love that because it took away some of the guilt and shame that I feel sometimes. Although I know on one hand, I don't regret the past. I have learned so many things every single time I've become abstinent. More things about myself, more things about others, like how compassionate and loving people could be when you're kicked and you're down because I've hurt myself. I've had a sponsor who has stayed there. And those things are just amazing to me. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Today, I am 45 years old. On July 13th, God willing, I will be 46. And in September, on the 20th, with the grace of God, my higher powers called God, with grace, mercy, and love that He's given me, and the help of you, my fellows, I will have 1 year of abstinence. So I'm so grateful. And in terms of numbers, if anyone needs to know, I am somebody who struggles with anorexia, bulimia, food addiction, and compulsive eating. So I vacillated between controlling my food, restricting my food, having too much food, exercise anorexia, getting rid of food, and different things. And my numbers on the scale had been at the point where I was underweight for enough time, and I'm going to be graphic medically because that's part of my story. As a young woman, I lost the ability to have a menstrual cycle for 18 months' time because of my illness with eating disorder. And I've also been at the point where I'm 65 pounds above what a doctor would say would be an ideal body weight for my frame, just to give you a sense of perspective. My illness is threefold. I have a spiritual malady, an emotional, mental component, and physical allergy to the things we don't eat here in Gray Sheet. And when I first came into Gray Sheet, I was so sick physically that my kidneys had shut down. What that looks like is you go to the emergency room because you can no longer urinate. My body filled up with toxins and chemicals and uric acid, and my legs had swelled. My knees no longer bent. You couldn't see I had ankles. And I felt like a dead man walking. And I did that to myself many times. But by God's grace, mercy, and love, I remember I threw myself on the floor because I couldn't bend my legs. And I remember, because I had been raised thinking that there was a God, I remember putting my hands up as far as I could above my head. And I just remember seeking to look upward. And I asked for mercy. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Please help me. And no word of lie, within 3 days, I met this lady. Well, I had worked with her, but she let me know that there was a meeting. She was part of a fellowship. She took me to GreySheeters Anonymous in Westport, Connecticut. And I'm so grateful for that. Since that time, my life has changed in many shapes and forms. But today I know two things for certain. One, I look in the mirror and I know that I have the power to change my life. And two, when I wake up in the morning, it's my choice to do everything I can to stay abstinent just for today. And I have many blind spots. Because I won't be able to see my blind spots and my illness is so progressed, there is a level of mild, moderate, and severe. I would fall in the severe range. I have a sponsor who tries to help me see if there's something that might creep in to get me. I have fellows here that I call and make a connection every day through talking. I have a funny story. 3 days ago, I said, no, let me say 2 days ago, I was getting up and I said, Sophia, you're doing these 2 grad courses to get my principalship so I could become an administrator and work with people and inspire them to do the kind of work that I think would be helpful to change the lives of children. And I'm submitting some documents by last night, so I don't have time to get on a Zoom gray sheet meeting today. And it's my weekly program. That is one of the things I commit to. And I remember this little voice that comes up in my belly said, Sophia, do you know why you're able to do those 2 courses? And that was the God who loves me. Sometimes I will be so blocked I won't be able to hear that. So my sponsor does that for me in different ways. Sometimes I have people I call every day and they do that for me. You know what? I have to do my part, but sometimes I can't catch every angle. Like I said, there's blind spots. I want to tell you how bad my illness got. I also, in my profession, can work with people who have head and neck cancer. And what that means is sometimes people have to lose their tongue, their esophagus, just different parts of our mouth and throat because there's cancer and they have to take it away. And I worked with people who had to get what's called a peg tube in their belly to eat their food and liquid nutrition, whatever. And these people, my poor loving patients who I considered family, that I used to work with in this hospital setting, I specialized in head and neck cancer. And they used to beg for a chip of ice or ice cream. Something, I'm sorry I mentioned a food name, but that wasn't on purpose. That was just something that happened to come out. But what I wanted to say about this is that I remember thinking to myself, at one point that, you know what, I should electively get one of those tubes because then I won't be able to put stuff in my mouth. But something instinctively told me that I was getting in trouble over and over again. And I tried all kinds of ways to not do that. But guess what? My biggest problem today is solved physically with the allergy and the compulsion to the problem I have. Now, I just have between my meals. And so now I could deal with that. And that's enough for today. I'm going to stop there. I'd love to hear everybody else. One thing I want to say before I go, it talks about the blind spot in my head. I want to just share something I saw that reminds me of how blind I could be sometimes. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, sometimes when I'm in a dark place, I may think I'm buried 6 feet under, but actually I may have been planted. That's it. I just wanted to share that I need help. My mind doesn't always see things, and I know I have a higher power who loves me. I'm thankful to all of you for the work you do, each and every one of you, because each of us has a part in recovery. And for today, I'm grateful to meet you and be part of your journey of recovery. And no matter what, that's it. I'm going to pass with that. Thank you. Love you all.